Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I keep my promises, and just as I promised, I am delivering on that. And on the phone with us this morning, it's the one and only, the magical, the mystical, the myth, the legend, the one and only, T-Boz.
Promises, bomb. You said that, Mr. Williams, and that went right. And the other thing you said, the magical, the mystical. When we were in high school, I graduated in '75, though I know I sound a lot younger. Still got a little raspiness from COVID, boys and girls, but I don't know, I sound like a Marlon Brando or something. But anyway, we were in high school, we used to say, we see a guy in the hall, the man, the myth, the miracle whip. I don't know what that meant, Jock. I don't know where the word Miracle Whip came in, but we see a guy in the hall, and, we'd high-five the dude, and, man, the myth, the Miracle Whip, whatever that.
Bro,
so,
Miracle Whip and myth.
You're a lot younger than I am, and, and you do deserve at the Warner the big name, Jock Williams Feel Good Show, and way in the corner it says T-Boz. But you're the big name, and speaking of big names, look at you, almost the first day of fall at 9 o'clock, and you're in orange. You got to see him, folks. He's got an orange jacket. He's got red pants. He's got, yellow shoes. The flip-flops are gone. He does have a Yankee hat, but it has, a straw motif. He is Mr. Autumnal. Forget about Reggie Jackson. This dude is, and he's got mums all over it. Come on in, Barbara. Jock will make you a fresh coffee. She's got a bad coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. She got 5 sugars in the thing and cream. All she wanted was black. All right, come on in. Everyone, I know we're not outside. Get your pencils. You're going to take notes. Come on, pile in. We got a lot to do, and time is running out. Welcome to the show, Words of Wisdom, Moments of Meditation. The studio looks beautiful with the mums and the corn stalks, and the Big E is going on, so it is officially autumn. And I heard you in the first hour, Mr. Williams. Where did summer go? And my brother is nodding his head, and so is my sister-in-law. My father would say July 4th with his Long Island accent. July 4th, we'd get up, we'd be all excited, we're going to a picnic. He used to say, summer's over. We go, summer's over, what are you talking about? Well, as I got, I just got out of school. Summer's over, we used to go, what are you talking about? Well, now you know what he's talking about. Enjoy summer, boys and girls, because it goes way too fast. So, let's get into our show. We got a lot to cover, and Jock wants to end on time because we got a fabulous song, and we got Norm Patterson after me. Great show, Genesis. Very quickly, Alicia's show on Saturday morning, boys and girls. If you love the Boom Boom 80s and Reaganomics, check out her show. It's awesome. Last week, she played Pulling Muscles from a Shell by Squeeze. Haven't heard that song in years. I was dancing around a bar at 6 o'clock in the morning. Great show there. Joel has another great show called Unhinged. Those of you who like Dick Robinson by the Sea, check his show out. But he's got an awesome sense of humor in between the songs and a lot of great footnotes. And then my buddy Chris Canfield with No Commercial Potential, Wednesday from 5 to 7. The most crazy kind of music and things. But, boy, you'll end up leaving that show saying, wow, there's a lot more than just the Beatles and Led Zeppelin on the radio. So there's my plug for my friends at WAPJ. All right, let's have our quick shout-outs because you got to get going here. First, new person to the show, my friend Stan, and he's bringing her in right now. Melody, a big fan of the show, and he introduced her to the show, so she wanted to come and be in the studio audience. So, hi, Melody. You can sit over here and enjoy the show. Thank you for being a new listener. Another quick shout out. I want to thank my daughter Emily, my daughter Rachel, little grandson Jackson, my son-in-law, great son-in-law Justin, and then Emily's boyfriend Storm took Lady Boz and I to a beautiful place in Woodbury Marketplace. Their sisters here to the one in Litchfield, brothers, however you want to look at it. Beautiful 65th-year-old birthday party we had for me. And what more? My wife said when she had cancer, you have family, you have everything. And so that was a great way to spend the 65th, and we had a lovely day Saturday. And so now I'm an official senior citizen. So let's get rolling. Our topic today is self-talk. I'm going to waffle, boys and girls. Self-talk, self-image, self-talk, self-image. They kind of play together, and we're going to talk about that. So the format today is we're going to talk about self-talk. We're going to explore that and how it affects our self-image. We're going to talk about positive self-talk and what negative self-talk does to you. and the result of what that does to us in our personal lives. I got a couple of personal stories, not big ones like last week. Oh, by the way, thank you, everyone, for your beautiful comments for last week's show. I was really moved to tears with some of the things that people said on Facebook and then also to the phone. And then we got a little exercise about thinking and controlling your thoughts and maximizing your thought process. We got that on the show today, and all of that mixed in with our scripture and other things. We got a really cool takeaway. It's kind of a humorous takeaway. We got that at the end of the show and all of that. All right, here's the overview. The way we think can be very beneficial for our walk through life. It could either hamper our walk through life or it could be beneficial. What we think about and how we think controls our actions, controls the way we do things, controls the people that we hang out with. We cannot control the world around us, but we can control our thinking. I struggle with that, boys and girls. Yeah. Motivational Tommy. I live most of the time, 80% of the time, by myself. When you're by yourself, the devil can talk to you in ways you don't want to know. So I constantly have to push out negative thinkings of loneliness and thinking of being blind and getting through the day. I have to push that out through the grace of God, but I have to push it out. So even I use these techniques to control my thinking to make myself a better person. Now, some of you are familiar with self-fulfilling prophecies. I want to thank my friend Catherine for sending this in. And another footnote, if those of you in the audience have topics that you would like me to discuss, Jock and I to discuss on this show, feel free to send them in. So Catherine, knowing the topic, because she's kind of a mentor for me. She was a great help to me when I was the president of the Connecticut affiliate for retinitis pigmentosa. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Basically what that is believing in your expectations, okay? So what happens is when you fully believe in what you expect to happen, then that creates positive behavior, okay? And then positive behavior is influenced by your actions. So belief influences action, and there's more to this. You can go on psychology.com. I'm not a psychologist. I'm a guy who talks on the radio with my friend Jock, but self-fulfilling prophecy and what St. Paul said, I mean, everything that you hear today in all these self-help books, it all goes back to the Bible. By the way, folks, Bible stands for basic instructions before leaving earth, okay? B-I-B-L-E. So self-fulfilling prophecy, St. Paul tells us, speak it into existence. You're expecting it to happen. Your belief and your expectations are high. Tell you a quick story. Years ago when I was the retreat director for St. Patrick's in Bridgeport, the late Bill Garrity, who introduced me to retreat, we were co-chairmen, and we wanted to get 10 guys on retreat. So we tried other things before this and didn't work with letters and all that. So he and I said every single morning when we got up, we're going to have 10 guys on retreat. We're going to have 10 guys on retreat. I'd call him, say, Bill, we're going to have 10 guys on retreat. He'd call me at lunchtime, Boz, we're going to have 10 guys on retreat. We said that. Our belief was so high, it met our expectations. It moved us to action, positive self-talk. You know how many guys we had on retreat that year? 15. And I think my buddy Keith Hodder, who's listening, was on retreat, and he wasn't even from that parish. But we spoke it into existence. When I came to Torrington, I was living in the north end of Bridgeport, beautiful home my brother and sister-in-law own today, and I had a sign in my office, "We will move in 2002." This was back in 2000. I didn't know where I was going to move, but there was a sign, "We will move in 2002." Every day I looked at that. Guess what? When we moved from the southern end of the state to the beautiful northwest corner, January 2002. Okay? So self-fulfilling prophecy is part of, but we use spirituality here on the show. Some people call it religion, whatever. And it's where your belief is as high as your expectation. You're expecting it to happen. One more quick story. My friend Jim, we talked about him and Peggy having a wonderful marriage. After he lost his wife, that's how he and I became friends. Not right after his wife died, but about maybe 6 months later, he started talking about marriage. He said, Boz, I have a client of mine who's 90, and he's been married for 30 years. He said, there's still time for us. We can be married again. And he would say that often when we would go for coffee. He didn't know who he was going to marry. He didn't know Peggy at that point. But he kept saying, We have time. We can get married. Guess what happened on August the 19th, a month ago? Jim and Peggy got married because Jim had the belief of his expectations. He had his faith, and he kept telling himself that he wanted to be married. All right. So what St. Paul says, which is speak it into existence. Okay. Now let's start. We're going to start with Ralph Waldo Emerson. Normally we start with scripture. We're going to start with Ralph Waldo Emerson. I'm watching the clock, Jock. Ralph Waldo Emerson says this: what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared, now write this down, boys and girls, compared to what lies within us. Boom. What lies within you? What do you truly believe about yourself? Truly believe. When you're by yourself, not in front of the camera, not in front of the microphone, not in front of the painting estimate, not in front of the landscaping estimate, what do you truly believe about yourself? Not what's behind us, not what's ahead of us, but what lies within us. What Ralph Waldo Emerson is talking about is inner self. We talk about that a lot on the show because as we improve ourselves, our inner self, we can create a better world. Ralph Waldo Emerson plays perfect in the 1 Corinthians. What does it say? 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 1. Clear out the old yeast. Boom again. What is he talking about? Because all that stuff, that garbage that's in our head that keeps us from moving forward. We're going to talk about dreams today too. And it controls our self-image. Most of the time, we're telling ourselves bad things about ourselves. We're our own worst enemies. Corinthians, clear out the old yeast. It says that right in Scripture, going right back to what Emerson said about within. Clear out, get all the old stuff out, the mistakes you made, the things you didn't do, the things you did. That self-talk is not good. I want to do a quote by Mark Twain that piggybacks perfect with Corinthians, Jock. So let's do the break now at 11:27. Then this way we can smoothly keep going. Fair enough, dude? Oh, I think Mr. Williams.
No, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. Let's do the break now.
I think that's an adequate suggestion. And we'd like to take this opportunity to recognize and thank our sponsors for their generosity and support for helping us to celebrate 25 years of broadcast service to the Torrington community and now beyond. I want to give a big, huge shout out to the Nutmeg Conservatory for the Arts, Torrington Savings Bank, TDI, Torrington Distributors Incorporated, and Charlotte Hungerford Hospital. Thank you for bringing us the quality community programming which you're listening to at this particular time. So with that being said, we'll turn the airways back over to T-Boz with more words of wisdom and moments of meditation.
Thank you, Jock, because last week I went over the break and I wanted to stay true to the station. It's been nice to have me on. Luke chapter 8, verse 18 says, take care then how you hear. In other words, what you're telling yourself. So we talk about getting rid of the old yeast, right? Getting rid of the reasons why we did this, we did that. Let's look at what Mark Twain says. Disappointed by the things you did not do than by the things you did do. Then throw away the bowlines. Sail away from the safe harbor. Catch the trade winds in your sails and explore your dreams and discover a new life. He's saying exactly what it says in Corinthians. Throw away the old yeast. In other words, if you're disappointed about what you didn't do than what you did do, he's saying throw away the bowline. It's a metaphor. It's a sailing metaphor, obviously. And catch the new trade winds. And you're never too old. You're never too different to start talking to yourself the right way. We have people in our square dance club the other night. They're 94 years old teaching new people how to square dance. Their names are the Punts. I don't know them by their first names. I would call them Mr. and Mrs. Punt. And they're 94 years old, and she's 92, and they're teaching people how to square dance till 10 o'clock at night or 9:30 at night. I know people 32 years old, and they're in bed at 8:30. So you're never too old to try something new, like Mark Twain says. So if you follow Corinthians, throw out the old yeast, and you go back to Emerson, what's within you, and then you are disappointed about the things you didn't do, well, then catch a new trade wind. What does he mean by catch a new trade wind? Start telling yourself that you can do things. Start telling yourself. We look at Psalms, verse 139, and it says, I will praise the Lord. And it says, and I am marvelous, and I am wonderfully made. So if God is saying to you, you are marvelous and wonderfully made, why do you keep telling yourself, I'm no good. I'm no good at this. Genesis chapter 17, verse 17. And then our buddy Abraham, right? Now check this out. Talk about self-talk. So Abraham fell to the ground laughing, saying to himself, what? I'm 100 years old. What? I'm going to have a kid. My wife is 98. What? God, are you crazy? Now, here's a guy who had God's arm on his shoulder, showing him all the stars of the sky, saying your descendants will be as numerous as stars in the sky, and he's doubting God when God says that his wife Sarah is going to have a baby. Do you doubt God? When good thoughts come into your head, positive thoughts that come into your head, that's the Holy Spirit of God speaking to you. Do you do what Abraham did and fall down and laugh and say, not me. You don't know my past. I made mistakes. Well, catch a different trade wind, right? So are you doubting what good God tells you? Okay, and be on guard of negative thoughts. Okay, Proverbs 18:21. The power, now listen to this, the power of the tongue is life and death. Those who love to talk will eat what it produces. Boom. What are you producing? What are you telling yourselves? Are you telling you the things you're not good at? Are you telling yourself you're not tall enough? Self-talk, self-fulfilling prophecy, self-talk can be good if used correctly, but a lot of us are letting it eat up our lives, that we're not moving forward. We're not achieving our dreams. It's hurting our self-image. Louise Hay, she's an author, and she wrote a book in 1984, You Can Heal Your Life. Now check this out. Remember, this is what she says, remember you have been criticizing yourself for years, and it hasn't worked yet. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. Wow. Approve of yourself. Take the failures that you had in life. Instead of running them over in your head all the time about what you didn't do, take those failures. My brother's a great example. He and I were involved in real estate back in the 80s, and we bit off more than we can chew. We weren't structured properly, and so we had to sell a lot of that real estate. But many years later, learning from his success, he has a wonderful real estate business down in the beautiful north end of Bridgeport, and he's learned from his mistakes, and he and his wife now have a very profitable, beautiful set of homes there in Bridgeport. But he didn't just give up, okay? He didn't keep telling himself, well, the real estate didn't work the first time, so the heck with it. He waited. An opportunity came. He thought about it. He sought advice of other people who were knowledgeable, and then he pressed play. Boom, he won. So you can't tell yourself just because you didn't do something right the first time that you can't do it again. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 21. Seek not things that are too difficult for you, neither the things that are above your strength. What are they saying in Ecclesiastes? Your strength is your talent. A lot of you, like Burt Bacharach, had the sense to be a songwriter rather than a singer. Have you ever heard Burt Bacharach sing? He can't hold a note in a basket. So rather than be Dionne Warwick, he gave her the song and he wrote the song. So some of you are telling yourself you're not good at anything because you're outside of your strength. Your strength is your talent. Each and every one of you is gifted. We talk about this on the show all the time. Okay? St. Paul says that even though we're all different parts of the body, the hand, the foot, the knee, he goes through a whole thing there, we all make up the one body. Well, we all are the body. Jock talks about the community, unity in the community. So Jock has his talents. I have mine. Barbara has hers. Stephen has his. Jim has his. Peggy has hers. Veronica has hers. Right? We're all part of the one body. What's the body? The community. Some of us may say the church. I don't care what you say, but you're part of something. If you're part of nothing, then what does Jock say? If you don't believe in something, then you'll fall for anything. So if you're part of nothing, you're going to be part of nothing. So start talking to yourself the way God looks at you. Philippians, fix your thoughts on what is true, honorable, and right, pure, lovely, admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Okay? Are you thinking of things that are worthy of praise? You are worthy of praise. Roy T. Bennett says this, don't be pushed around. Now listen, don't be pushed around by the fears in your mind. We all got that, right? Be led by the dreams in your heart. Instead of worrying about what you cannot control the outside world. We just said that. Shift your energies to what you can create. Boom. My friend Jim was working for a landscape company years ago. I won't say the name of the company. And it got to a point he had agita upon agita. His blood was boiling. Okay? He created his own business, Meadowview Landscaping, which has become a major success for him, has given him a wonderful lifestyle due to all his energy and his putting into that business. Rather than, he could not control the company he was with, he could not control the person running the company, never really had a dream of having his own business, but when put into the situation, rather than try to control that, he created something new. He told himself he can do it. The last three letters of the word American is I can, AMERICAN. Okay, so remember that. Act as if what you do makes a difference. It does. Act as if what you do makes a difference. Everything you do makes a difference. The way you live, the way you talk. But it's the way you talk to yourself is how you can be out in the world affecting other people. Mark chapter 2, verse 8 says, immediately Jesus knew in his spirit that this is what they were thinking. And he said to them, what are you thinking, and why are you thinking these things? So if Jesus said to you, Stephen, why are you thinking? Len, what are you thinking? Jock, why are you thinking these things? Do you have an answer for him? We just said in Psalms 139 that we are marvelously made, yet we feel that we're not marvelously made. So if Jesus, the creator, God himself, is the creator of you and he sees you more than what you see yourself, then why are you thinking these things? Roy T. Bennett says again, I love this, it piggybacks right on what Jesus says there. Accept yourself. Accept yourself. I'm blind. I accept it. I'm not going to play golf. I'm not going to play racquetball. But I'm a damn good square dancer. You know why? Because I tell myself I'm good. I also work at it. God will bless your efforts, but you got to give him efforts to bless. Okay? God will bless your efforts, but you got to give him efforts to bless. I practice very hard at my square dancing, very hard. Veronica's nodding her head. I practice like crazy. I have to, because I'm going into it one leg down, so to speak. But rather than sit in the corner and cry and tell myself I can't do something that sighted people can, I overcome my disability. You're only limited by your attitude. We're going to talk about attitude. We got to keep moving here. All right? So Roy T. Bennett says, accept yourself, love yourself, and keep moving forward. That's what they say in square dance, by the way. If you make a mistake, keep moving forward. If you want to fly, you have to give up what's weighing you down. Boom. What's weighing a lot of us down is ourselves. We're the weight that's holding us down. I would be doing nothing if I bought into my blindness. I'm one of the best square dancers in the club. I tell myself I'm good. When I was running track cross country in high school, I was a great cross country runner. This is not conceit. It's the truth. Why? I practiced my butt off. God will bless my efforts, but I gave him efforts to bless. But in cross country, they give you a stick when you cross the finish line, and the lowest score wins the meet. And when you cross the finish line in first place, they go, number one, Number one. And before every meet, I used to say to myself in bed at night, number one, you're number one, you're number one, you're number one, you're number one. You know what? I won most of those races. I was the 10th best runner in all of North Shore, Long Island. So take all those schools in Long Island, cut Long Island in half. Now, I didn't come in first, but they had all the high schools in Long Island, had a huge meet at C.W. Post College. And of all those kids, because I kept telling myself I was number one, I was the 10th best runner. I was the only one on the bus that day going back to the school with a trophy. I was the second best runner at Sunken Meadow Park. And same thing. I told myself, we're on a line. My brother was in that race. We were on a line. There must have been, 300 kids when that gun went off. And the first two kids across the finish line was a kid who was maybe better than me, and then me, out of all those kids, because I kept telling myself I'm number one. I kept hearing that in my voice, in my head, number one. So self-fulfilling prophecy, faith, controlling your thoughts, loving yourself, accepting yourself. Okay? And when I went to high school, I made varsity as a freshman because my elementary school years were not that good. We're not going to get into that why, but it was not that good. And when I went to high school, I said to myself, this is going to be different. This is going to be different. I wanted to play football, but I had an ear infection, so I couldn't do that. A coach guided me. I said this on another show, into track. I ran track, and in 1971, I was 14 years old, and I made varsity. Back in 1971, boys and girls, that was a big deal. I don't know if it is today. But belief in yourself, self-fulfilling prophecy, get rid of the old G's, what lies within us, that was my mindset. And I had a very successful career in track. So did my brother. Kay Arthur says, God is in control, and in everything give thanks. Some of us are not moving ahead. We don't have positive thinking because we're not thankful. 6 truths to preach to yourself. 1, God is faithful. It's in Exodus. I'm not going to quote all the readings. God is faithful. God has saved me. That's a truth. Tell yourself that every day. God is with me. God is always with me. Okay? God is with you. That's truth number 3. Truth number 4, God is in control. What that means, God is in control, but you got to do something. Okay? Truth number 5, God has forgiven me. Boom. That's one you got to keep telling yourself to get all the negative things out of your head and start telling yourself positive things. And truth number 6, God will keep me. Isn't that beautiful? With all your faults, all the things you tell yourself, you're too heavy, you're too short, you didn't do this, should have bought that house, should have went to college, should have saved money. Oh my God, I've made so many mistakes. God will keep you. All right, let's see where we are in time. All right, let's do this exercise real quick, and then we're going to have to jump over all this stuff. Okay, here's the exercise. I want everybody to close their eyes. Even you, Stan, close your eyes. Okay, Fred, close your eyes. Stop peeking. All right, close your eyes. I want you to visualize a full moon. Then I want you to visualize a beautiful tree by a river. And then I want you to visualize a red triangle. Now, let go of the red triangle. Put it away. Let go of the tree by the river. It's not there anymore. Let go of the moon. What did you do? You controlled your thinking. Thoughts come in and out of our minds, just like those thoughts. You brought them in, you let them go. You brought them in, you let them go. When negative thoughts, self-degrading thoughts about yourself come into your world, as you push these things out, you push that out too, and let in the good things. Oprah Winfrey says, if you undervalue what you do and yourself, the world will undervalue you as well. Bingo. Boom. Okay, we want to get to the song. I want to get to the takeaway. Here's the last thing. M. Scott Peck says this: until you value yourself, okay? Until you value yourself, you won't value your time. Until you value your time, you won't do anything. So some of us are standing still. Some of us are not moving. God's love is greater than your situation, but you're not moving. Why? Because it goes right back to what we started with today. Putting value in yourself. How do you put value in yourself? You tell yourself that you're worthwhile. You tell yourself that you're worthy, that Jesus died on the cross for you. You tell yourself that you're worthy of the person you're with that loves you. If you're a single person, you're worthy of the friends that support you. If you're someone that's going through sickness right now and people are supporting you, you're worthy of that. Stop telling yourself you're not worthy. All right. I had a bunch of other things, but we ran out of time because, Jock, we have to get to the show after this, and we have a very cool song. So here's the takeaway, boys and girls. And I really had some great stuff, but maybe I'll save it for another show. Maybe we could do something else with it and pull it in there. Diane von Fernberg, believe it or not. Here's the takeaway. She's a motivational author and a designer of clothes. So here's the takeaway, boys and girls. You're going to love this. Ready? You are always with yourself, so you might as well enjoy the company. You're always with yourself, so you might as well enjoy the company. What is she talking about? She's talking exactly what Ralph Waldo Emerson said. That's exactly what St. Peter says when he says, look for the hidden heart. Don't look at the garments. Don't look at the gold. Don't look at the face. Don't look at the hair. Look at the hidden man, the heart. That's what she's talking about. You're always with yourself. Enjoy the company. Love yourself. Talk better to yourself. Treat yourself the way God sees you. I had some other things we can't get into now. We're running out of time. But do those steps. Push thoughts out when they're coming in to tell you can't do something, and create a better world. Jock, you want to tie a bow, and then we will get to the song.
As always, T-Boz, your messages just resonate wildly. And one of the most difficult things to do is to take that self-reflective look at yourself and to make an honest assessment about that. We can either be too lofty in our assessments, or we can be undermining ourselves on our assessments. So it's very important that you do have some type of value-based standard that you can make those assessments. And hopefully they will help you to navigate those behaviors that you want to modify so that you can make the necessary changes that you're looking to make. It's not easy. It's not easy. But I believe that that's why we have, hopefully, those people in our lives that can help us make those assessments and can make them in a way that they'll enhance the quality of our lives. So,
absolutely. No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that, after your segment, I have to kind of think about it for a day or two so I can get the full brunt of your message. And I ascribe to those self-reflective techniques, but sometimes we do need an objective bystander to kind of put things in their correct context.
And if I can piggyback on what you said, a good friend can sometimes guide you. A good friend. They say friends will tell you what you want to hear. A good friend will tell you what you need to hear. So sometimes when we're not thinking good of ourselves, and there was one quote I wanted to get to here, and I'll just end with this. 1 Timothy says, chapter 4, verse 4, for every creature of God is good. So if you start with that, knowing that you're good, every creature is good, then you'll erase the mistakes. But good friends of yours will help point out your strengths, as we said earlier, and say, hey, Tommy, hey, Jock, maybe you really shouldn't go that way. That's not your strength. But this is, and like the coach who guided me into track. So be open. Don't think that you're the end-all game to everything. So next week I will not be here. Going to be up at the Big E. So, the farm has a lot to do this time of year. I'll let you know about the week after. And it's Friday Eve and beautiful autumnal weather coming in. So everybody go up in the attic and get your sweaters, put away the flip-flops, And Jock, why don't we kick that song? And everyone, thank you again for last week's comments. Thank you for listening. And go have some Apple Betty up at the Big E.
Thank you, T-Boz. We'll see you back in 2 weeks.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.